1:15, a little bit behind. I'd like to ask Councilman Ken if he would like to.
Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for once again letting us meet and convene and discuss what's good for the Cherokee Nation. Lord, we thank you that we're able to meet in this way and open meeting and discuss issues that concern the Cherokee people. Lord, thank you for our youth and how much they mean to us, and our elders and everyone in between, Lord. Thank you for letting us speak Cherokee. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Ask Kelly to call roll.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Julia Coates. Jody Fishinghawk.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright. Here. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
China Glory Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener.
Me.
Dick Lay.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton. David Walkingstick.
Here.
Kara Cowan Watts. Lonnie. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. Hear a motion to approve our minutes.
Make a motion to be approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Moving on to reports, Marshal Service, is somebody here to represent that?
Mr. Chairman, council members, Ms. Wright is still convalescing from surgery. She's back on duty this week, but needed to check in with her doctor. I understand you have her report.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman.
I'd like to make a motion we amend the agenda to talk about the voting places during this election.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion to amend the agenda to talk about voting precincts, I was saying. Is that what you're talking about?
Voting places, yes.
Voting places.
On information, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Is the councilor's motion for discussion or possible action, or?
You want that discussion and possible action?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All minds clear on amending the agenda for that item? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Roll call.
Jody Fishinghawk.
Can you repeat?
Amend the agenda to discuss. Janelle Fulbright.
Yes.
Don Garvin.
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.
No.
China Glory Jordan.
No.
Lee Keener.
Yes.
Dick Lay.
No.
Curtis Snell.
No.
David Thornton. David Walkingstick.
No.
Kara Cowan Watts.
Yes.
Bill England.
Yes.
Bill John Baker.
No.
Jack Baker.
Yes.
Julia Coates.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
7-7 failed. That fails, Mr. Roberts.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it would require a 2/3 vote in the affirmative.
Thank you, Todd. Office Attorney General, Diane.
Good afternoon. You have not only our regular report, but at the request of the acting speaker, an additional report regarding recent actions in the Freedman cases. I thought the easiest way to perhaps give a brief summary was via timeline, and that's what I've submitted to you. It hasn't really been that long, although in some respects it seems like it's been months rather than days or weeks. And I know that many of you have kept fully apprised of everything that was going on. And I've course, furnished you with copies of all pleadings and orders, but I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of our Attorney General?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Lee.
Has anything happened to the 24th you need to add on here?
Monday, the additional absentee ballots to the freedmen went out. I have a letter. I haven't gotten that officially from the Election Commission, but I have a copy of the letter that went out with them. I think there was approximately 120, I'm not sure of the exact number. The order memorializing the phone hearing of the 23rd was finalized early Tuesday morning, the 27th. All of the notices that were supposed to go out Monday to the 1,200 or so registered freedmen went out. Mr. Enlow accomplished that for us. He's exercised Herculean efforts in helping us get all these things accomplished. And then I know the Election Commission has walk-in voting going on. I think that's what's happened this week.
Okay. Thank you. One additional question.
Sure.
Well, you go ahead. Would you mind updating that and sending it to the council?
Sure.
And then also don't have any problem with sending it, forwarding on to our community groups?
Oh, okay. I'll send it to you electronic format.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Julia?
Yeah, I've myself and another person have had requests into the Election Commission to clarify the situation with absentee ballots, because there's a good possibility. I always get these reports that many at-large people don't receive the ballot in time to actually get it back to Tahlequah by registered mail. And given that if that was the case, someone may have thrown out a ballot and now it's opened up again and they could send in a ballot. We're not getting a response from the Election Commission because our law says that a spoiled ballot will be replaced. And I wondered if you could render some sort of an opinion about that situation.
I don't know anything about it other than what I hear, and you probably have more information than me. If you want to request in writing something from us about what you have to do regarding spoiled ballots, I'll be happy to comply with that.
We're just running up against a very short deadline here, and I can't seem to get an answer out of the Election Commission, so I was hoping maybe the AG's office might be able to assist.
I'll do that.
With an opinion.
If you'll send me an email today, I'll respond.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Jody?
I asked the Election Commission that because I had several people that threw them away or something else, and they simply told me, too bad, they've got it. The only way we will redo one is if they did not get it in the mail.
Okay.
And they just won't. I've
Be
been
happy
talking
to
to
look at
several
it and
people.
see.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Hamlin.
Thank you.
Next is Election Commission, Brenda, or not Brenda, but, what's your name?
Susan?
Susan?
Mr. Chairman, they did submit the Carter report and some additional information. I know that they are over there right now conducting the walk-in vote, but I was asked to announce that they did submit written material for your consideration.
Did everybody get the handout, Susan? Yes, Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We approved the November 12th date, and then I thought that the typical historical fashion or legal fashion was that once those dates were then and the precincts were brought forward for that any election, that they would be brought to us for approval, and it has not been. So I don't know who needs to render an opinion and approve that, but that's problematic. I don't even know if people knew that they had 3 days to file, and yeah, I don't even still know. It's after the fact now, and I don't even know if they had time to file or notification to file in that district.
They would the Election Commission would be the best to answer what processes they took to notify the public. They do need to
I'm
approve.
specifically, not
Yeah.
just the public, but about the council was supposed to, I believe, have a final approval of the timeline and the precincts locations, maybe not the exact location, but that there would be number of precincts and the city they were located in, and that has never taken place. Did I blink and miss it?
No, you did not blink and miss it, but the council did approve the date. Now, the location of precincts, according to our code, does need to come before this council and be approved. So we will, I will communicate that to them again and see that they will present that to us.
I don't even know that the people of District 2 know they're having an election at this point, so.
We're smart
I mean,
people there. We
Yeah, I
figure it
know,
out.
but that's like, we're in the middle of this other stuff, and I am unclear that we have done all the steps we need to take for District 2.
Precinct 2?
No, just on the vote today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's on, but that's on this. I will communicate to the Election Commission that I'm sure is watching on the internet that they will make every effort to communicate the procedures over to the council, and that they ensure that all efforts are being made to publicize these dates to.
We review our election law, because I thought even these interim dates were supposed to be brought to us and communicated and then affirmed by us.
Well, in what we're dealing with also, I mean, actually, our election code would call us to approve them approximately 90 days before the election. We didn't set this election until right at the time. The election code itself was drafted in the auspices that we're going to be dealing with a general election. This is a special election with a very, very short timeline according to the Constitution. So, and I know that they are doing every effort that they can, and I will make sure that they will communicate all procedures to the council so that we can ensure that the people of the District 2, that they know what's going on.
Don?
Todd, an election going on now.
Yes, sir.
It's an election in progress. And as you know, we have 9 council districts. We talked about 15, and then we went to 5.
Right.
So right now we have 5. Now, only one of them is going to get the vote in this election, so to speak, unless they got a tank full of gas and lots of money. They call it a walk-in. It's not a walk-in. It's kind of a drive-in, or I don't know what you would call it. But the council can't get involved in the.
Well, and I'll give you a shoot from the hip answer on that. According to our code, our laws, the election ended at 7 p.m. September 24th. The only thing that is taking place now is under the auspices of a federal court order from Judge Kennedy in the District of Columbia. So therefore, whatever comes forward from this point forward has to be in accordance with that court order. I was not a party to the actual phone conversation or the phone hearing, and I know Ms. Hammonds was, but I do know that it was promoted by attorneys for the freedmen to have all precincts open during this time, and that was argued and apparently rejected by Judge Kennedy. Judge Kennedy's order is very specific that there will be the ability to walk in at a precinct located at the election headquarters. So the Election Commission's attorneys have taken a very literal sense of the order and said the only place that we're going to open one is there. Now, it has been promoted even at the Election Commission meetings that it be expanded to 1 precinct per district. That argument was apparently considered by the Election Commission and rejected. So I'm not here to defend the Election Commission or attack them, but that's the decision that they've rendered.
It just seems like you're going to have 1 man, 1 vote. We're getting away from that completely. 1 man, 1 vote. Gas, tank full of gas or something. But anyway, the judge say one polling place, or only one and only?
Oh, let me.
He didn't say you couldn't have more than one.
Ms. Hammonds is coming up from behind you. Maybe she's.
I've
I'm
got...
just gonna look over his shoulder.
Oh,
All right, I believe this is... Yeah, right. The order, and I'll read verbatim, is paragraph 3 of it. It says, permit all registered Cherokee voters who are not Cherokee Freedmen voters to vote in the September 24th, 2011 special election on a walk-in basis at the Election Commission headquarters on the following dates: September 29th, October 1, October 4, October 6, October 8, and 2011. So it does say specifically.
To use the term walk-in,
Yes.
that needs to be debated, I guess.
Any further questions?
any further questions, Don, or are you through?
So it's out of our hands completely.
The only remedy that any individual would have would be to go to court. The election commission's made their decision, and you would either go to court and to ask Judge Kennedy to reconsider his order, or to go to our Supreme Court to see if they would render something different.
Just the thinking of the council, the suggestion that it be done this way wouldn't have any bearing on it.
We can suggest anything we want to, but at this stage in the game, we don't have time to amend the law. We don't have time, or even if we could, we would have to intervene in the lawsuit and request Judge Kennedy change his order. Logistically, that would be impossible since we are now voting right now. That would be my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next is Jody.
Tom, in the newspapers in District 2, the filing dates were published in all county newspapers. Everybody knew that they was there. 7 of them managed to find their way to the election office to file, and 7 of them was a pretty good sized number filing for one office. And everybody in Adair County knows, and Delaware County knows, we're having an election in Ottawa too. We've made sure we've got it out. Matter of fact, they was wanting to hold it sooner than we are holding it, because they was tired of not having another representative over there.
Is that all good? Judy?
Yes.
The election, the judge's order doesn't say anything to address absentee ballots.
It does not.
So that decision to continue to accept absentee ballots through October 8th was an independent decision of the Election Commission.
Let me read the entire, and I'll read the order for the record. Plaintiff counter-claim defendant Cherokee Nation is ordered, notwithstanding any provision of tribal law to the contrary. That means regardless of what our law says, the Cherokee Nation is ordered to do this. Number 1, notify all registered freedmen voters in a letter sent via overnight mail no later than September 26, 2011, that they may vote in the September 24, 2011 special election on a walk-in basis at the Election Commission headquarters on the following dates: September 29th, October 1, October 4, October 6, and October 8, 2011. It's my understanding that this was done and was sent out on September 26, 2011. Number 2, provide in a letter sent via overnight mail no later than September 26, 2011, a non-provisional ballot and notification that this ballot will be accepted if received by October 8, 2011, to all registered Cherokee freedmen voters who, 1, requested an absentee ballot before August 12, 2011, and 2, did not return an absentee ballot that the Cherokee Nation received as of September 23, 2011. This would mean that the freedmen voters who requested an absentee and did not receive it would get one get one via overnight mail in a letter explaining that they have the right to vote that again. It's my information that was 137 so letters overnight sent, and it is my information that also was done. That is the only mention of absentees in the order. Okay, so
for the Election Commission to say that they are going to accept all absentee ballots through October 8th is an independent decision on the part of the Election Commission to which I would really applaud them for taking that independent stand, because to me, the fact that we seem to have a federal judge in Washington, D.C. who has never set foot within the Cherokee Nation and, essentially now directing our election is incredibly offensive. And so I think that, to the greatest latitude that it can make independent decisions in this case, I really applaud the Election Commission for doing that. My next question would be, is there anything in the judge's order that specifically prohibits the Election Commission from walk-in voting in other precincts or in other districts?
There's nothing that prohibits a lot of things. I mean, obviously it's a proactive order. I guess to answer your question, there's nothing in there to prohibit it. But as the greatest possible exercise of our sovereignty under the circumstances, the Election Commission's ordering of a walk-in voting place in each of the other districts would perhaps represent a degree of latitude that we could take in this situation to try to take back some sort of control of this election process, which seems to have been completely derailed by a federal order. And the suspicions on the part of many people is that the federal court, in collusion with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, is favoring one candidate in particular. And that kind of suspicion would be greatly alleviated if there were, in fact, walk-in voting places in other precincts. The Election Commission is as you know by statute, constitutionally created body, and is by statute to be free of any interference by both the executive and the legislative branch. Yeah, they've made their decision. And so the only other recourse that you as an at-large voter or anyone else would do be go to court. I mean, that's, like I said, I can't get up here and explain their actions or defend their actions or promote their actions. I'm just telling you, what has occurred.
Or presumably to ask the Election Commission to reconsider that decision, since we're asking our tribal court to also reconsider certain other decisions as well. They seem to have meetings almost daily, and I would put in a request to put that again as an agenda item. Thank you.
So, Todd?
I'll go ahead and answer your question.
Julie, you through?
I'm through, thank you.
Don, you're next.
So it is still possible for people outside the district to get an absentee ballot request one?
I am not going to sit here and talk, on behalf of the Election Commission. All I did was come up here and say they did a report. I will answer questions as best as I can. I cannot tell you whether they will mail out any additional absentee ballots or not. That is a question for the commission to answer. I will find out when their next meeting is. I will suggest Ms. Coates' agenda item, but I would request or suggest that question be asked to the Election Commission.
Yeah, a lot of people want to vote absentee, and if they do it, they have a chance to participate.
Well, a lot of people have, and I've had that opportunity, and I do believe that the Election Commission has erred as much as they can on the side of inclusion instead of exclusion in this election. But again, that's
probably ought to include everybody.
And I think that's what they're trying to do.
So that would be absentee ballots, so they would go out.
You need to ask that question
I
to.
don't think they're here to ask.
Well, I'm not them. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Don. Julia?
Well, I just want to clarify, I don't think that even I, on behalf of my constituents, are asking for new absentee ballot requests to be received. But for those who have already requested an absentee ballot and may not have received it in time to mail it in, or who may have spoiled it, to have a replacement ballot. So just to clarify that.
Anybody else have any questions? Janelle?
Yes. I tend to agree with Councilor Garvin here that just having only one place for so-called walk-in voting is really not treating everybody equal and the same, because down in our district, it goes all the way to Fort Smith, Arkansas, to the southern border. You may have to drive 70 or more miles to come up here to vote. And I thought, in my opinion, it would be a lot more fair if every district had at least one polling place centrally located where people could go in to vote on at least one of these days. We had a lot of people who unexpectedly were out of town, at the hospital, went to Branson or whatever, that need to come up here and vote, but it's pretty inconvenient for such a long drive, whereas the people that live right here, where there's a large number of voters, it's pretty convenient for people in the Tahlequah area to come right in and cast their ballot. And it's kind of, I'm not saying it's really disenfranchising them. If they were really determined to vote, they would drive on up here and do it, but it's not treating everybody the same, and that's the way I see it. We should have put a polling place at least in each district somewhere other than centrally located here. That's all I have to say. I'm just making a statement the way I feel about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Any other questions? Okay. Ms. Webster, Tax Commission.
Afternoon. I believe you have my report, and I'll try to answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody have any questions of Sharon? Thanks, Sharon. Good job.
Thank you.
Self-governance, Vicki?
Good afternoon. I believe you have my report. I hope so. Okay. I just have a couple of updates for you. I was absent from the last Rules Committee meeting. I was invited to speak at the National Self-Governance Strategy session. An update that I have on Title IV amendments, which are with the Department of Interior. There was a hearing September the 22nd. The Department of Interior testified that they agreed with the language as written, so that's a huge step forward, and we're hopeful that this legislation will finally get passed, which will be a large step forward for self-governance. One other item that we are currently working on is a supplemental Contract Disputes Act claim for Indian Health Service. We've already filed CDA claims for contract support from 2005 through 2010. This will be a supplemental to that to include any third-party revenue that may have resulted from that claim as well. So the original claim was about $29 million. The supplemental claim, we're actually working on the figures as we speak, but it's roughly going to be about $1.5 million for 2005 only. The $29 million was for 05 through 10. We're also trying to file today a CDA claim for contract support costs for 2005. Today, the 30th, the statute of limitations runs out, and we were recently advised by our attorney, Lloyd Miller, that we needed to go ahead and file for 2005, so we are hurriedly doing that today. So those are the updates that I have, unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Vicki. Next up is Mr. Hummingbird back there in the back.
Good afternoon. I think I had the most coveted seat in the room, very back against it. I apologize for not getting my reported to you a little bit earlier. I had been out on travel and forgot to send it in to Lita, so I apologize for that, but I would be willing to entertain any questions you might have.
Do you want to have any questions of Jamie? Good job, Jamie.
That's the way I like it. Quick and easy. Thank you.
Codification, Mr. Hembry.
No report to be given. Again, last month I was reading through the minutes that we had hoped things would settle down, that we get back to the codification process. Well, that hasn't happened. I will meet with Mr. Morton as soon as practicable and get codification rolling again.
Oh, Gary, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You do have one report. We found that the Impeachment Act was not current for the 2003 Constitution, and we'll be bringing that forward at a special.
That is correct. There was questions as to our current Impeachment Act. The Impeachment Act was written under the auspices of the 1975 Constitution. We have made revisions on that and that to bring it in accordance with the 1999 Constitution, and we will be presenting that shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Gary. Todd Enlow, citizenship data.
Good afternoon. I handed out a map that should be in front of each one of you that has a map of 14 counties on one side, and on the second side is in particular a map of Sequoyah County. Basically, that's just an update of our status. We met with the ODD last week, and we've received the data from Sequoyah County. McIntosh County we should receive next week, and then Adair County we should receive in the next 30 days. And so we're working on our MOU with them. And the reason I provided Sequoyah County was I wanted to illustrate progress and work. Just because we receive Sequoyah County does not mean that the data is automatically readily available. We have to translate our rural route addresses to 911 addresses. And so you can see based on the dots that are spread out there, the greens represent the original geocoding that was done in 2010. And then the other dots, if you'll notice that there's a pretty good distribution inside the cities and around the cities. But when we get into the rural communities where a rural route changes, the addressing is not as good as we want. So that's what we're working on with EODD, is that translation of old address to new address, and we hope to have that done in the next 30 to 45 days for Sequoyah County. So hopefully by next meeting I'll have a pretty good distribution of Sequoyah County. We will have received McIntosh, and hopefully, cross your fingers, we will receive Adair County by the next meeting.
Todd, you have a question, Chuck?
Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Todd, at what point do you think we'll be able to have a map and the underlying data that will allow us to draw a line using roads and be able to identify how many Cherokee citizens are there in any given county?
Our goal is to have that ready by February or March.
Okay, because when we move to 15 districts next year, I think that's going to be indispensable. And if we're on that timeline, I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a reminder, reported last month that when we start the new fiscal year, we'll establish our contract to do Nowata County. That's about a 60-day project once we start. And so hopefully by the end of December, we will have the data for Nowata County as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Moving on under old business. Item number 1. Melanie or Paula, you want to speak to this?
Mr. Chairman, we'd like to withdraw the nomination. Ms. Teehee had seeked approval from the White House, and there appeared to be a conflict, and so we'd like to withdraw that nomination.
Okay. We'll remove that. Next item is Councilor Watts, Tribal Council travel policy.
Mr. Chairman, I had some unexpected council business come up that I didn't anticipate having to address, and I'd like another month before I bring this forward. And before I table it for a month, I have not had any written feedback from anyone else. So if you're wanting to include changes at this time, I will have written, because I submitted it to our attorney, but he's had to help me address these issues I didn't expect. So neither of us had the actual written amendments ready. But I haven't had any feedback from anyone else, which concerns me. I would like to have everyone's feedback included if they have questions.
So anybody wants to give Kara feedback, feel free to. David, you have a question? Or you want to give her feedback?
Are you sure, Mr. Chairman?
Just glancing over this, I have a private peeve about this, and it's mostly because of privately owned vehicles. And I don't fly. I don't know how many of you people, all of you may fly, but I don't fly. When I get ready to go somewhere, I get in my darn vehicle and I go. I don't trust the airlines, and I dang sure don't trust people that live outside the United States. So I don't fly. I drive myself. If I go to California, so Long Beach or Santa Ana or wherever things are happening, I want to take my own vehicle. Now, our people over there in travel say that we've got to take the same amount of time as it would take to get on an airplane and fly before. Well, people, I want to tell you something. I used to could drive for 26 hours to California, but I can't do it anymore. It takes me 1 to 2 days to drive there. And when I get tired, 8, 10 hours, I'm tired. Just like a trucker. You got to dodge them going down the road, but they stop every 8 hours. But I want to tell you what, I think we need to look at that. And, this is the discretionary funding of the tribal council. This has nothing to do with federal funding that they govern over there at the administration office. And I think that we really need to take a look at this and check into it. And I tell you what, I don't see any sense of a tribal councilman not being able to take his own vehicle and drive and be governed by the federal regulations. And there's some of those federal regulations that they don't go by over there. And I don't know how many of you all have read them, but I have. And I think that we need some changes made. Not only for us, but for probably our employees that take trips and maybe they have to go one way and then come back another way, rent a vehicle or something of that nature. I know that's happened before, but they at least gave them 2 days to make it back in from Oregon there one day. But I sure hope that we get something put in this travel expense policy that would help everybody. Not just go by what the administration, well, it's not the administration, it's the travel people over there that govern our travel. And I think we need to at least, consider us and consider the employees for when they have to travel also. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, David, and I agree with you.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Chuck, I have one more question.
It relates to that, and it'll be brief. I had always understood that we could drive, and in fact, I've done that and been reimbursed. But if there's some issues that are related to that, I'd like to hear, because I'm like you, David. I'd say more often than not, I would drive to some sort of conference. So I haven't run into any problems, but if there are, we should discuss them.
If I'm going to California,
in fact, I yield to Councilor.
Yeah, go right ahead.
First day I'm going to stop at Albuquerque, and that's a long ways to me. And the second day probably at Phoenix, and I'll drive on even further. If I've got to pay for that, out of this $75,000 or $70,500 that we're being allowed to use, I don't think that's right. And I think it needs to be looked into and seen, because I was just told today that I couldn't do that. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chief.
okay? Thank you.
And what David's telling you, actually, if you drive, and I drive everywhere too, just like you guys are talking about, but we're not allowed to stop. We're to drive from here to where we're going to California nonstop at our expense.
Oh.
Because we have to be equal with the people that are flying.
I see. Okay, thank you. Okay, I understand.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I know quite about federal travel regulations because I used to be a Fed, but I think we can look at that. I think that we are required, because we take indirect costs that pays for a portion of our expenses, to be consistent with the GSA issued travel regulations, which affects all federal operations. But I think there is some latitude in there that I think what you're referring to is that provision in the travel regulations that allow people the option, provided it's approved, to travel in POV so long as it does not cost more than your standard rate of travel by air or the most efficient means. But there's more latitude than just an arbitrary, that's the way it's always got to be done. I mean, there has to be some reasonableness in it. But in most instances, it's not a great amount of money between the two. So I think I'll ask the treasurer to look at that and visit with it.
Thank you, Pat. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we will have, I don't know if it's human resources or the travel department, because I think it's an issue of government regulations, whether that's ours or federal, and if there is an ability to have an exception. But we should have that research for you prior to next month's meeting so that we can answer those questions. But if we are able to amend, would you please either work with Todd Hembry or just email us recommended draft language to amend the policy so that we can have that ready, so all minds are clear, that we put it in front of everyone before we vote?
Sure.
Thank you, Councilman Thornton.
How we go?
You know, I firmly believe this is council. You know, this isn't the administration, this isn't people that are paid by federal government over there. This is the council, and we govern our own rules and policies and procedures. If you read the Constitution, you find out it's that way. If you hadn't read the Constitution, then you don't really know. You know, you can let them bluff you out and go one way or the other, but I'm telling you, you govern your own procedures and policies. And I think that's what we should do in this matter. That's just the way I feel about it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Cool. Karen, would you table that till next month?
Yes, I move to table till next month.
All in favor of tabling till next month, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Under new business, item number 1. Karen?
This is a resolution that would authorize the donation of XRF to both the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, a tribe, and I'll go ahead and make number 2 as well in toto for items number 1 and 2. Another piece of equipment called the XRF to the Cherokee CRC, which is our environmental business under Cherokee Nation businesses. And the XRF is the tool used to measure the amount of lead in paint in a home or other facility. So I move for approval item number 1 and item number 2.
I'll second.
Have a second? Any discussion? Time?
May I address this to our speaker?
Sure.
What's the average cost of such a implement?
I don't know what the cost is. Is anyone from Resources or Environmental Services here?
No.
I don't remember that it's in the.
It's not.
I don't think it's in the.
It's not.
Carol, would these be just something extra that we have? We have plenty of them on hand for our needs, and these are extra pieces of equipment that we no longer need.
The way I understand it, may I? Sorry.
Sure.
The way I understand it is they are equipment we're retiring, but are still usable. I've never seen our lead based pavement crew, slow down, so, yeah.
Is that all time?
Yes, thank you.
Lee?
I'd like to make a correction to both resolutions. The sixth paragraph down, it should be XRF, not XFR.
I accept.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passed. Carriers is the next item. Item number 3 on the agenda.
Move for approval. This is the NCAI delegates and alternates.
Second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Next item is item number 4, and I'd like to ask Mr. Stewart to come up and explain this, if you don't mind. It's for the construction permits on the FCC.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. This involves a radio station permit that C&B, I believe, it was about 4 years ago, obtained permits for commercial radio license. And, so we did not pursue it as a business. It's in the Cherokee Nation's name. We essentially spent the money to develop it, and we found a buyer for those licenses and determined it's in the best interest of the tribe to sell those. The price is about what we have in it in terms of legal cost. So I think the resolution proposes that it would allow the principal chief to execute the sale because the permits are in the nation's name. So it requires action by him to do that, and to do that it requires council approval. That resolution also allows C&B to recover its legal cost, its out-of-pocket cost to get that done. I think the net difference is $10,000 or $15,000 that would stay with the tribe. It's fairly straightforward.
Councilman Hoskins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you know, refresh my memory. What was the administration's plans with these? These are originally pursued as non-commercial licenses.
Yes.
Do you recall what we planned to do with those?
I have no idea, Counselor. I really don't know. I'm sure it was a tribal initiative for communication. That's the best I could.
Is anyone from admin, Mr. Chairman, here that could just briefly speak to that?
I'm sorry.
I was wondering if anyone from admin could speak to that.
Melanie, can you speak to that, or?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The cost incurred was $110,000 over the course of time?
Yeah, it's $110,000 or $120,000. It's mostly outside legal fees to get the permits, completed the applications, and deal with getting the licenses.
And then we're going to sell it, the licenses for
$135,000, I believe, is the number. So the net difference would $10,000 or $15,000. Basically, we're getting our money back.
And David, is it correct that if we don't sell them, they're going to expire and we'll need money if we don't?
That may be right, Mr. Chair.
I see some hands. Yeah.
Yeah, it will expire if we don't sell them.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we don't know exactly how much we're making. We don't know exactly how long we've got before they expire.
Yes.
I kind of hate to do business that way, and I'm sure you do too.
Well, no,
You don't hate to do business that way?
Okay, I can find out the exact dates for you. The point is they expire. We have no use for them, so that probably wouldn't change our decision to sell them. I can get you the exact amount of the cost. It's around $120,000 or $125,000. If you'd like to know the exact number, I can get that.
Well, I would like to, and I would like to know, are we under the time gun to sell them like before next month?
This is a time-sensitive offer is what I
Right.
have been told. So I would estimate that we do need to make a decision to take advantage of this sale. Todd, do you?
Mr. Chairman, what I would recommend is that Mr. Stewart gather that information for you and the other councilors, that the resolution, since it is a time-sensitive matter, go ahead and be passed on to full council, that we can consider on the October council date, and at which time, if the numbers are copacetic with what's been presented, we go ahead and approve the sale.
Nobody else?
Oh, I would just say, in the future, I'd like to see those numbers before we vote. And I know
Okay.
it's time sensitive, but
Okay.
still, yeah, if you do have the time, we can.
No, we have the
see.
exact numbers.
Right.
I mean, it's around 120, so I can get the plus or minus 3,000 or 4,000 exactly for you.
I think everyone would feel better if we see it black and white.
Okay, no problem.
And should this pass today, will you provide the council with the information at our meeting of what the planned use had been for these permits? I would be interested in knowing why we acquired them and what we had planned to do with them that we didn't do.
Right, I can do that as well.
Additionally, I would like to make sure that any profit that's made stays with the tribe. So if there's 10,000 made, it stays here in the tribe.
Yes, it will. That's the design of how that works.
Okay. Thank you.
No other questions? Okay. Did we have a motion on that?
No, sir.
Did I hear a motion to?
I have,
So moved.
excuse me, since there was not a motion yet, I've got one more question.
Okay.
So the profits would stay with the tribe and not go to CNB where you?
It's my understanding that this is an asset of the nation. They're in the nation's name, so therefore any profit would go to the general fund. Is that correct?
Yes, it would stay.
Yeah.
And I have in a more detailed memo, the costs are around $110,000, so it'd be plus or minus $1,000 or so of 110. So we'll get you the exact dollars and cents, but that's about what it is. So the difference between 110 and 135 would stay with the tribe.
So we're paying you what you had in it?
Yes, it's a reimbursement of direct out-of-pocket costs, no overhead, none of that, no profit.
Is that all there?
Thank you.
Tanya?
David, am I to understand that with your legal team that you have on board, this was farmed out to another legal firm?
Yes, this was 4 years ago. So the company was in a little bit different state, and also there is a specialty in the application process that we would not have. So this is a very highly specialized legal process to get the license. Okay.
I can answer a little bit about that.
If you would.
Sure, go ahead.
We were involved in it from the nation's side and worked with Bob Huffman at CNB, but what it was it was a specialty FCC license. That's why it went through the tribe itself. It was, if I recall correctly, it was because of the tribal relationship that we were able to get the FCC license, and we had to have a special attorney who had expertise with Federal Communications Commission licensing regulations and negotiated back and forth on that. Bob Huffman and his group did a lot of it in-house. We did what we could in-house over here, but we did have to have outside counsel for that.
Could I continue? Then we had some expense too.
Just in-house, just our attorney time.
Well, that's an expense though.
Sure.
Is there any way that we can arrive at what our expense was and maybe we do some cost sharing here and our split be a little bigger?
I can certainly find my time and correspondence back and forth.
Would you two work together on that so
Absolutely.
that if there is a expense on our side, I would assume that we need to do a little bit of cost sharing here and maybe we would recoup more money based on the fact that our legal people did some work too.
Absolutely.
And I assume you and David could work on that and report it to the council meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And now, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Sharon?
A second.
Got a second?
Mr. Chairman, now I guess we can have discussion after our motion.
Oh. Sure, go right ahead.
Even though it is not clear about the business financial reasons, from a sovereignty perspective, this is one area that we have not exercised our sovereign rights as a nation. So it is pretty monumental that we actually exercise our right within within the FCC, and that is important. It may not seem as important in our area, but on a reservation it's been critical. So just want to take note of that.
Anything else? Anything? Okay. All in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
All against?
Vote.
No.
Put me down as a no, too.
Yes.
Let's just do a roll call.
David Walking Stick,
No.
Cherokee Watts,
Yes.
Bill Anglin,
Yes.
Bill John Baker,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Jody Fishenhop,
No.
Janelle Fulbright,
Yes.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
No.
Tina Glory Jordan,
No.
Lee Keener,
Yes.
Dick Lay,
Vote.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton.
No.
9 yes and 6 no.
Yes, sir.
9 yes and 6 no. Goes to full council. And, anybody have any announcements? No hall prize or nothing?
They're all gone.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Second, all in favor?
Stressed out.
We're adjourned.
Roll.